We reached the destination according to the itinerary, which was one of our main goals for the day kind of thing. Because if we didn't complete it by the end of the day, we had to carry a little extra for the next day. It's just like your teacher in your school says that if you don't do your homework, you'll have to carry the burden for tomorrow kind of shit, okay? Good morning from Hubli. The time is around 7:30. This video is the conclusion of the Run of Kutch ride, like the whole ride. I'll tell you about the details of each and every day, which I couldn't put in the video, which I couldn't tell you over there because I forgot to tell it. It was my first time vlogging, so I missed out a lot of things to tell you. This was the first time that we rode for that long. Yeah. We couldn't complete the whole 3,500 kilometers ride, but we also rode 2,300 kilometers. So yeah, that was a big deal for us to ride for the first time in our life that long with that much of pressure and all those stuff. So yeah, this video I'll be traveling to Nirvana, which is around 11 kilometers away from Kumta. It is a really beautiful beach and that is one of my favorite vacation spots. I'm going there with my dad today. He has some work in Kumta, so I was like, I'll join you. I'll just go to Nirvana and I'll be sharing my whole conclusion video while I'm traveling. This vlog is gonna be like a background video of the whole conclusion video. So okay, so I'll get ready and I'll hit the road. So hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, so first of all, 500 kilometers per day on a Thunderbird, not a good idea, and that's exactly why I had to go with the flow. Going with the flow. So let's start with day one. So one of the elite mistakes we did was we left late. We were supposed to leave Hubli by 6 o'clock in the morning, but it almost took us 7:30-ish. That's where we went wrong in the first place. And secondly, we took our first break in Belgaum and our second break in Kolhapur McDonald's. I ate a little too much in McDonald's and I was sleepy for like 90 kilometers. I almost dozed off while I was riding, and that was the second mistake that I did. I can't stress on this enough, but please check your bikes A to Z before you go to a ride which is this long, 3,500 kilometers long. Yeah, please check your bikes. My tire pressure from the rear wheel was 62 psi and that's not supposed to be like that. The petrol stops. Kaka's bike, which is the KTM Duke 390, and Prateek's, which is Himalayan. They both have a fuel capacity of around 14 liters and I have a fuel capacity of 20 liters. So I didn't have the necessary to go and fill up the tank every single time we had a stop. Yeah, that's where we went wrong, because every time each of us had to take a stop, all of us had to stop for them. So what we did was, every time somebody stops to fuel their bike up, all of us would have fueled up at the same time. That helped us in the future days of the rides, but in the first day we messed up a lot. The happiest and the purest realization we had was our fog lamps weren't sufficient for us. That was the first thing that we realized from the whole ride, like which was the major fault in our riding kit completely from the bike. And now for day 2. On day 2, we were supposed to travel from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, since we were 30 kilometers before Mumbai and we got stuck in traffic and all those stuff. You can watch it in the previous vlog. On that day, we realized that the first main thing that we need to learn was to know our bikes, to know how the bike works, to, just fix the normal small stuff like a nut is loose, all the clutch cable or the accelerator cable. We need to learn how to fix all of those things, because yeah, in our group, Prateek Anji was the mechanic, but we knew the smallest things about what to do and what not to do, but Prateek Anji always took the initiative. He was kind of used to doing all of those stuff, so we had that. And bro, traffic. The amount of traffic that we got when we were going to Ahmedabad, mind blowing, bro. Like, there was this one Creta guy who almost hit us. Me and Kaka, we were gone. The judgment is not that perfect when you have saddle bags in the left and right side of your bikes. We can't, have a rough idea of how big that is until and unless you ride with it for like 2 or 3 rides or stuff like that. Apart from that, the whole day went pretty smoothly actually. Like, Mumbai and Ahmedabad highway is one of the best highways ever, and the road is really very smooth and all those stuff. My bike, it went at around 140 speed. Yeah, Thunderbird 140 speed. Yeah, it went pretty smoothly. So we reached at around 12 o'clock, the same fog lamp shit and all those stuff. But yeah, that's about it for day 2. For day 3, yeah, on day 3, again, we were late. We were very late. We were supposed to leave at around 8 o'clock in the morning. We left at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, nevertheless, we went to a biker's point and all those stuff. We could continue the ride only because we took that stop in the biker's point. To be noted in the iCard if you want more details. And then we had our lunch at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun set as usual and we got stuck in traffic. For how long? For 25 minutes. And that 25 minutes would have been 3 hours if we didn't act on it. The traffic was for 13 kilometers if we counted correctly. Me and Kaka were stuck behind and Pratik went ahead because Pratik and traffic, he doesn't give a fuck. Me, Kaka, hedrte ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. We got stuck over there and we took some risk and we rode in between lorries and all those stuff. So there's that, and the other problem was my top box got bent because first of all it's a top box of Himalayan, plus I had put in a Himalayan carrier for it. So the weight of the top box got the whole clamp to go bend. In Kaka's top box he had kept a water bottle which was of glass, you know, Cavencher's bottle and all those stuff. It broke and all the water fell inside his top box and we had to clean that all. So we took the major break over there for 3 hours. Still we had to cover almost 200-ish kilometers that day. Our ride was supposed to be just for 6 or 7 hours, but that day we rode for 13 hours. And after we reached Bhuj, we still had to cover 70 more kilometers in plain cold. It was freezing out there. We took the major risk over there. It was 11:30 in the night. It was almost 12 degrees Celsius. We weren't familiar with the weather. Me and Kaka, we were planning to stay in Bhuj, but Pratik was like, we have come until here. Let's just go and settle in Kutch for like 3 days. No problems, nothing involved. Yeah, we kind of, you know, like the plan in halfways and stuff like that, but going with the flow. That comes the end of day 3. Yeah, day 3. Day 4 was... Okay, so in day 4, we didn't do anything wrong that day, but we took our time to acclimatize. It's the most important thing. When you're going to that place where it is not so familiar weather with your day-to-day life, you need some time for your body to adjust. Don't push yourself, don't do anything stupid. We took a day to completely adjust to the surroundings as well as getting our bikes repaired. That was most prioritized at that time. That really helped us in the further ride. Come on, man. You need a break. You deserve a break after you ride for 1600 kilometers to get to Run of Kutch. You deserve a break. I'll give you the break. You deserve the break. Yeah, also, you're not the only riders there. So, build up the riding community. If you can, if you will, please. Thank you. Day 5. Humidity around the beach, I can't even begin to explain. 5 is all about you. Like, it's personal experience. How you explore stuff, how you want to look at stuff, how you want to do stuff. It's on you. Like, basically, we went for the White Run in the morning, and in the afternoon, we went for the Ranotsav, and late in the afternoon, we went to paramotoring, and we watched the sunset in White Run again. The only thing that you need to, you know, keep it in your mind that even if the whole day was of completely exploring and all those stuff, you need to get back to your room. Even though how late it is, you need to pack your stuff. If you are planning to ride tomorrow for a long time, you need to pack all of those stuff before night, and we did that. We're always very quick with all this stuff, and we used to do it all the time. Like from the first day itself, the packing part and getting ready part was none of our problems at all. So it was pretty easy for us. That's about it. And about day 6. On day 6, all we had to do was ride. That was the longest we rode in the whole ride. That day we had to cover almost 627 kilometers plus or minus 10. Until that time we had learnt our lessons. We knew what to do, we knew what not to do, we knew where we were going wrong, and we improvised. On that day, the ride went really smoothly. To be honest, that was one of the most peaceful days of the whole ride. We were mentally prepared as well. Yeah, we had a time limit. We left at around 7:30. We reached by 8:30, so that's a good thing. 627 kilometers in almost 13 hours on a Thunderbird 350. Yeah, good thing. Day 7. On day 7, all we had to do was explore the Statue of Unity. And yeah, that's about it. We came back. Yeah, time wasn't sufficient enough. When emergencies happen, you can't deal with those. Whole and soul. That was our 7th day of ride. Okay, to sum up the whole video, here is the list of problems that we faced. Okay. The first problem, we couldn't explore more. The time wasn't sufficient at all. One of the fellow riders told us in Run of Kutch that it's a concept of saving time and exploring more. Whatever he did was according to his time frame. He would go to a place and sleep there, and he would wake up in the morning. He would explore the whole city that he slept in. It may be in the evening or the late afternoon. He would just start the ride then. Doesn't matter if it's 400, 500 or 600 kilometers. He would start then, and he would reach at around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the night. It wouldn't have mattered to him. He would just reach at 2 o'clock. He would just sleep. Wake up, explore, travel again. I loved this idea. The next thing was brakes. Fog lamp failure in the night. If you ask me, intercom is the most important thing you need to carry for your ride. You can talk to the co-riders, and that helps you keep motivated. Ride along with them for hours together. Also, we couldn't lube our bike every day or wash them. We can't just be like, bro, I'm too tired. You can't do this. Yeah, I'm talking in both the situations. We also couldn't service our bikes every 1500 kilometers as we had planned. Problems समाप्त. So the whole video I only talked about what went wrong and what we did to overcome that and all those stuff. Let's talk about the good things now. Irrespective of KTM, Himalayan or my Thunderbird, average speed was maintained. We reached the destination according to the itinerary, which was one of our main goals for the day kind of thing. Because if we didn't complete it by the end of the day, we had to carry a little extra for the next day. It's just like your teacher in your school says that if you don't do your homework, you'll have to carry the burden for tomorrow kind of shit, okay? Anyways, I don't get pissed off that easily. There are only two major things in my life that piss me off to the next level. The first thing in the list is traffic. I hate traffic. It gets me so irritated. I can rip someone's head off. I can ride in the most shittiest road possible, but I don't like traffic at all. The second thing I'll not say, but the traffic that we faced was unexpected. Like, we thought we had covered it all. The time management was up to perfection and we thought that we couldn't get any traffic or anything, but that's not predictable as much as you think. So the traffic was unpredictable. And yeah, after the first day in McDonald's, I didn't eat that much of a heavy meal that would make me go sleepy or so. One thing we are proud about in our luggage is we carried everything that was necessary. First and foremost thing, first aid kit, tools, puncture kit, lubes, an extra pair of tire tubes, also an inflator and nut bolts. Nut bolts are the most important things you should carry because the main mechanics of the bike don't fail that easily, but the chota mota mechanical failure like the lever guard is loose or the crash guard is loose or the silencer clamp is loose, you need some extra nuts to deal with it. We try to keep the GPS always on, so usually when we go on rides we tend to get lost in the way and all those stuff, but this time we didn't get lost at any point. We just went straight to the destination. Yeah, I know it was an highway, but that's not the point, bro. Emotion, please. And last but not the least, the most important thing in a ride: coordination, brotherhood, family. We all had that intact, and that was one thing that kept us going 2200 kilometers. Yeah, I know I say life is too short, you can't go one place twice in your life and all those stuff, but yeah, I think I'm gonna regret at some point in my life that I couldn't complete the whole 3500 kilometer ride. But yeah, just try to live one day at a time. Let's end this conclusion of Run of Kutch with a positive note. I had the best time ever with my friends. That is something nobody can take away from me. I'm in the Nirvana cliff right now, enjoying a beautiful sunset. It's not technically a sunset, it's still 5:30 in the evening. But yeah, let's enjoy the view for a moment. So that's it for this video. Okay, that was way too much effort to do a conclusion video. Yeah, I love what I'm doing. I know I didn't properly give an introduction of what I do in this channel and whatnot, but I think you'll figure it out in the upcoming videos. Thank you for making me a part of your day. My name is Bhatta. Welcome to the family. Adios.